Welcome to Adult ypww Lesson 10. I do not own the rights to this music. Today's topic is holiness in relationships, reflecting Christ to others. The lesson text is coming out of John chapter 13, verse 35. The memory verse. I will read the King James Version first and then the New Living Translation of John chapter 13, verse 35. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have loved one to another. The New Living Translation of John chapter 13, verse 35. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. The introduction says, holiness people love differently. Holiness is not just a matter of avoiding sin, it is a matter of displaying Christ. One of the clearest ways holiness shows up is in how we treat people. You cannot claim to walk in holiness while walking over people. John chapter 13 verse 35 makes it plain. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have loved one to another. Love is the family resemblance of the kingdom. When the world looks at us, they should be able to say they must belong to Jesus. Look at how they love. This means holiness is never just about separation from sin. It is about connection to others in a way that reflects the heart of Jesus. Holiness doesn't only draw lines between light and darkness, it builds bridges of grace and mercy. A holy life is not cold, distant, or untouchable. It is warm, compassionate, and spirit-filled. The same Holy Ghost who convicts you of sin will also compel you to forgive, to show kindness, to walk in patience, and to love without conditions. It is easy to claim holiness when you are alone. Isolation doesn't demand patience, humility, or sacrifice. But true holiness is tested in relationships, with family who know your flaws, with church members who sometimes misunderstand you, with co-workers who may antagonize you, with neighbors who don't share your values, and yes, even with enemies who plot against you. Jesus himself set the example. He touched the leper that others avoided. He dined with tax collectors that others despised. He washed the feet of disciples who would soon scatter. And from the cross, he prayed for those who crucified him. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. From Luke 23, verse 34. That is holiness in action. Holiness people love differently because they love supernaturally. They don't love based on convenience or worthiness. They love because the Holy Ghost has poured the love of God into their hearts. And that's Romans chapter 5, verse 5. To walk in holiness means to choose mercy over malice, forgiveness over offense, service over selfishness, and compassion over cruelty. Holiness that does not love is not holiness at all. Real holiness is not harsh, but healing. It is not arrogant, but humble. It does not push people away. It draws them closer to Christ. To live holy is to live love. The discussion. The link between holiness and relationships. Holiness is about being set apart for God, but God is love, and that's 1 John chapter 4, verse 8. That means if we are set apart for Him, we will reflect His love. The fruit of the Spirit in Galatians chapter 5, verses 22 through 23 is not just inward, it is relational. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control all show up in how we deal with others. Paul connects holiness and love in 1 Thessalonians chapter 3, verses 12 through 13. When he prays, and the Lord makes you to increase and abound in love one toward another and toward all men, to the end he may establish your hearts unblameable in holiness before God. Love is not a side note to holiness, it is the proof of it. The local church is a training ground for holy relationships. This means avoiding gossip, refusing to sow division, and practicing forgiveness quickly. Unity does not mean we agree on everything, but it means we value relationship enough to protect it. When a misunderstanding arises in the choir, instead of letting it grow into resentment, holiness moves you to address it privately, seek understanding, and restore relationship. In the home, holiness must start where you live. It is not enough to treat the saints well, but speak harshly to your spouse or children. Colossians chapter 3 verses 19 through 21 commands husbands to love their wives and wives to respect their husbands, children to obey parents, and fathers not to provoke their children, even on days when work has drained you. Holiness calls you to speak with patience to your children instead of snapping in irritation, because your tone at home preaches louder than your words at church. Holiness in the workplace and community also matters. Colossians chapter 3 verse 23 says, "And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men." This means showing integrity, being dependable, and responding with grace, even under pressure. If a coworker tries to draw you into slandering the boss, you refuse and redirect the conversation, allowing your integrity to earn respect and point others toward your faith. Holiness must even extend toward enemies and the difficult to love. Jesus commands us in Matthew chapter 5 verse 44 to love our enemies. Bless those who curse us, do good to those who hate us, and pray for those who despitefully use us. This is one of the most radical expressions of holiness. Loving like Christ loved us when we were still his enemies. Instead of rejoicing when someone who wronged you experiences hardship, holiness compels you to pray for them sincerely, demonstrating a love that is not natural but supernatural. The application: walking out holy relationships. There are real obstacles to holy relationships. Unforgiveness poisons holiness, and Hebrews chapter 12 verses 14 through 15 warns that bitterness can defile many. Pride can make it difficult to serve or value others, as Philippians 2 verses 3 through 4 warns against thinking too highly of ourselves. Impatience can cause us to judge others unfairly when we forget how patient God has been with us. Partiality or favoritism is also a danger. James chapter 2 verse 1 commands that we treat all people with equal respect. Overcoming these obstacles requires remembering God's mercy toward us. We forgive because we have been forgiven, and that's Ephesians chapter 4 verse 32. It means staying full of the Holy Ghost, because we cannot love like God without his power working in us, and that's Romans chapter 5 verse 5. It means guarding our words so they bring life and not destruction, and that's Proverbs 15 verse 4. Praying for people regularly, especially those who frustrate us, and serving with humility as Jesus did in John chapter 13 verses 14 through 15. Living out holy relationships is practical and intentional. This could mean calling someone in your church you have not connected with in a while and offering encouragement. It might mean taking the first step toward reconciliation in a strained relationship. It means refusing to participate in gossip by applying the filter. If it is not true, kind, necessary, or edifying, it should not be repeated. It might also look like praying daily for someone who is difficult for you to love, asking God to bless them and soften your heart toward them. And it includes looking for opportunities to serve someone without expecting anything in return. The conclusion: love as the language of holiness. Jesus tied the credibility of our witness to our relationships when he said, "By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have loved one to another." And that's John chapter 13, verse 35. The way we treat each other inside and outside the church speaks louder than our titles, sermons, or worship styles. When unbelievers see believers loving, forgiving, and serving one another with joy, they see a glimpse of the kingdom. When they see us biting and devouring each other, they see a contradiction. Holiness in relationships is not just personal sanctity. It is evangelism in action. Holiness that does not love is not holiness at all. It is empty religion. The Pharisees were meticulous about separation from sin, but failed in compassion, and Jesus rebuked them for neglecting the weightier matters of the law: judgment, mercy, and faith. And that's Matthew chapter 23, verse 23. Real holiness does not just keep you from doing wrong, it compels you to do right. It does not just separate you from the world, it sends you into the world as a light. It does not just clean your heart, it warms your heart toward others. If we want the world to believe that Jesus is real, we must live out John chapter 13, verse 35. Let our holiness be more than a standard. Let it be a living testimony of God's love flowing through us. The questions for today's lesson. Number 1, which area, church, home, workplace, or toward enemies, do you find it most difficult to show holiness in relationships and why? Number 2, how does remembering God's mercy towards you help you forgive others? Number 3, what is one practical step you can take this week to show Christ-like love to someone who has wronged you? And number 4, how can holy relationships serve as a witness to unbelievers around you? The end. God bless you, and thank you for joining me today.